Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. Let's take another look here at Bitcoin, see what's going on. Sweet little pump here from 63,000 pretty much up to 66K. This is an interesting little movement here from Bitcoin. A lot of altcoins are responding well to this. Keep in mind Bitcoin dominance is still increasing, which is unique because generally speaking, when we see Bitcoin dominance and the price of Bitcoin going up, generally we're going to see altcoins come down. So this leads me to believe there's a bit of this is either a fake pump or something is up. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. My spidey senses are tingling. So again, we'll see what's going on here. This is starting a double top here as well. So if you can kind of see that, we're starting to top out, and those generally have a significant play out percentage. Again, it's a little too early to tell, but double tops do have a pretty high consistency there, about 75% likelihood of the price pulling back. And we are starting to form something along those lines. So again, hypothetically, the price comes down to break this here. This is where the double top comes in. And then generally will look like that. Okay, so again, that's just what we're looking at here so far. So am I telling you to short? No, definitely not. We probably have a lot of bullish convergences now as well with Bitcoin. So let's take a look at the back ends and kind of just see what's going on. Let's get a good little refresh here. And talk about, well, liquidation for starters, because liquidation is important to recognize. It's not always like the guarantee, because again, double tops are pretty strong. So let's see if we can go ahead and get this pulled up here. 66,000, yeah, so 66, there's quite a lot of liquidation at 66,600. Round interesting number there. We can see, just generally speaking, there's more liquidation still to the downside than the upside on a shorter term time frame. Once more, that doesn't mean too much right now because that level hasn't been officially swept, but 67,000 does appear to be the higher range of this more recent liquidation area. But we do look at larger time frames. We can again once more note that the 67 to 68K range has a lot of liquidation. Like there's a ton there. Okay, but it's going to take a lot of volume to punch through this resistance at roughly 66,300. So again, we're going to see here soon what happens, obviously, but once more, I think the double top, depending on how it plays out here, could be the determining factor. So let's take a look at the daily, kind of work our way down. And if I recall from yesterday, we are still looking pretty bullish, being above the 200, 50, 100, and the 20-day SMA, mainly staying above the 20-day SMA for the last 3 days. That's a pretty solid sign. We can also see here as well that stochastic is trying to swing up on the daily. Generally, that would be a significant uptrend if we see that happen. What that basically just means, and generally the reason why this happens is because when stochastic swings up the second time, it's usually breaking through a key level resistance. That's generally what we see here. So in this regard, we can kind of see that 66,100, if that level's swept, then that would give us that second stochastic swing, and the price will probably run because there's a lot less selling pressure at that point. Either way, at this juncture here, the daily time frame looks pretty solid. There's no other way around it. 4-hour time frame, let's quickly note. 50 on the RSI is holding. Fantastic. We got a money flow index bounce, which is interesting to see the price action hold above 50 on the RSI and bounce at this 30 level, closer to 30 rather, on the money flow index. So what that basically just tells us is that there's more money flowing in now in the last couple of candlesticks than we have seen in a majority of the entire last week. So that's pretty crazy as far as that's concerned. Again, all the more reason why it's concerning, because you see one really large candle. Generally speaking, that's a little bit of manipulation. And if I'm not mistaken, we got an alert here. There was, this may not seem like a lot, only 58 million purchased on Coinbase, but that is spot. That's not leverage, folks. So again, that's actually quite a lot. So anyways, the trade alerts were going off this morning when I woke up. So it's interesting to see how this is all playing out. Either way you look at it, the 4-hour time frame does look pretty, I would say pretty good, because we're above all moving averages now, broke above the 20. So in a perfect world, the price action comes down and bullishly backtests this descending trend line, and that's where we continue. In an imperfect world, the price double tops and we continue lower to break this lower level, which still seems to make sense, folks. So again, you got to recognize we got a pretty significant CME gap here, down as low as 58.5, upwards of 61 is a rough estimate. So the fact that the price is trying to take off without filling that is interesting to me. That's another reason why it feels kind of like a trap. But I could be totally off. I hope I'm off and the prices go straight up. Because again, it's good to see the market responding well, right? Either way, MACD's trying to converge, hasn't fully yet, but stochastic swinging up. Again, mostly favorable on the 4 hour. Ichimoku Cloud on the hourly time frame. Perfect. This is exactly what you want to look for a long position. Generally, better case scenario would be getting in here closer to the 65K range with this most recent fib there at about 65. Because again, ideally, the price will come back down and bounce off the cloud. That's a perfect world there, folks. Do we live in a perfect world? No, definitely not. But this does feel like we got some breakouts here soon. So if Bitcoin can maintain itself at 65K or higher today, I think this weekend might be worthwhile considering a couple of altcoin trades. And then, of course, early next week, we will have to wait and see kind of what happens there. But if, again, we continue to hold this level at 65K for the remainder of the weekend, I think it's off to the races. It would make perfect sense for that to be the case. So again, don't attach yourself to a mindset of either direction, of course. Let the patterns play out or invalidate, right? At this point, the double top is working pretty strong, pretty consistent here, and it's pretty standard to see this happen, at least the first try. But again, if the price action does end up coming back up to retest, we see some kind of a flag pattern here. We may even be in the starting point of a very smaller time frame cup and handle pattern. That's generally how they start. So if that occurs, then I would say that it'd be like a good consideration for some long positions. Okay, so at this point here, I would say generally the best way to describe it is that try not to get too crazy with shorts or longs. Honestly, we're at this really weird little impasse, and to me personally, that's half the reason why I've kind of held off on some trades this week. Coincidentally, we took a short yesterday, or no, a couple days ago, and the price action is doing what it's doing now. This is pretty much the way it goes, right? As soon as you get confirmation the price is going to come down, it goes right back up, and the inverse applies too. So all the more reason just to be patient and wait this one out. I would say, though, if we get a closure today at 65K or higher, then it's a pretty sure sign that we're going to probably want to consider kind of flipping our mindset to the price action going higher moving forward. Okay, again, the longer we hold this range, the more likely it is to go up. Okay. All right, folks, I hope that makes sense. I'll post my playout chart here on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, of course. And if you are new to the channel, welcome on board. Make sure you read through my signals guide and a lot of other features here. Got tremendously cool stuff going on there. I'll explain that later, of course. You've already probably heard about it. Thanks so much again for watching. I hope you have a great rest of the day. We'll see you again in the next one. Take care.